Hello. Thank you for joining me. Viewing my post here, my recording. My name is Joe. I'm 61 years old. I was born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in part called South Philly. I'm here to discuss something that I have a passion for that I'm going to show you now. It's this blue button here, plate button. Called a plate. It's a 4x4 plate that hangs on the wall to open up doors automatically for people with disabilities. I know you have seen them. They're in state buildings, federal buildings, hospitals. A lot of structural businesses have them, medical buildings. They're all over. Um, it's not uncommon to see them at many entrances going in and out of a building. Like I said, it's to assist people with disabilities that don't have the means or not able to open up a door on their own for one reason or another. So we're going to be discussing this here, and we're also going to be discussing this here. This is a picture of emergency exit door, and I can't say it enough. Emergency exit door. I'm sorry, emergency exit door. It's a door that you go out of any building, like I outlined, for your safety. For your safety, if situations going on, it might be a fire, it might be an active shooter, some other emergency situation. It's a door that you exit a building out of for your safety. Okay, every building has them. Federal, state, local. It doesn't matter. They're in every building. It's part of the fire codes that buildings must have emergency exits. Okay, so we're going to be talking about this and this 4x4. Some places are 4.5 by 4.5, but it doesn't matter the size. But this blue button plate, okay, we're going to be discussing this here and what I'm fighting for, what my passion is for this. Currently, under the ADA regulations guidelines, it's not mandatory that buildings supply this plate here at emergency exit doors. Okay? It's a voluntarily thing. And since I started my mission, I did come across one location that had it, and I'm not going to say where it is right now because I'm in the midst of trying to set up a meeting with them, and I would want their permission. I don't I don't post anything or say anything unless I have permission from the person who's helping me out. That's just me and how I roll. So we're going to be discussing this. But first of all, I'm going to talk a little about me, who I am, what I stand for, and my situation. Like I said, I was born and raised in Philadelphia. I'm the oldest of 7 children. My life was pretty good. I mean, I had lows and I had highs. I had more highs than lows throughout my life. In 2018, the year 2018 was not one of my finest years in my life at the beginning. But by the end of it, it was one of my best years. And I'm going to share some things with you, and you will somehow understand why it was one of my best years in my life. And So let's just backtrack here a little bit. Beginning of January, I owned my own business. Business was doing bad because of the economy and the type of business I was in. It was losing money. We had to use my wife's 401k plan to help survive the business, hoping there was a turnaround. And that didn't happen. But early January, I was just having a real bad day. If you know my personality, I'm always like chipper, up, positive guy and everything else. And so, but in January 10th, exactly that date, I'll never forget that date, I was, had a real bad day at my office. It was just one thing after another, one thing. I was getting pounded and pounded and getting knocked down, getting back up, and I was just tired. Something just snapped at me at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It was just, I just snapped. I fell into deep depression, and I was seriously thinking of committing suicide. I had a revolver in my desk. I took it out. So it was a rough night. The police had surrounded my office. I had SWAT out there, and I was on the phone with negotiations and so on and so on. But I got through that. And I have to thank my little brother, Danny, who committed suicide himself due to depression a few years before that, and it was right before Christmas time. As I sat there at my desk thinking about it, and I thought of him, and I thought of the pain that it had caused myself and my sisters. And I couldn't put my sisters through that again. And I knew the pain it caused me, that my brother did that. So, after a couple hours of negotiation with, his name was Chris on the phone, I decided to come out and seek help. And so I did come out, and they took me for help. And I felt so relieved in my life at that point that I was actually going to get help. I can release what was bothering me and seek help. Well, I had help at an institution for 10 days. I came out of there such a better and stronger man. I said, to hell with the business, hell with it. I knew things would be a little rough, but they couldn't be no rougher than they were. So I felt so relieved and happy. And like I said, even after losing my business. So comes May, beginning of May, early part of May, I had a cut on my foot, on my right leg. As you can see, I am an amputee of the right leg below the knee. I had a cut, and it got infected. It got infected more than I thought it did. I was found the next one, so I went to sleep, not thinking or hoping I woke up the next day as a person with disabilities. So if you don't have disabilities and you're looking at this tape, don't take it for granted that it can't happen to you, because I did not think it was going to ever happen to me. So I was told, I was found the next morning. I was rushed to the local hospital, and then from there, I was rushed to a trauma center and put in critical care in trauma center. Um, my wife was told to call the family in, that I wasn't going to make it that night. And after I was in septic shock. I woke up maybe 5, 7 days. I don't know how many days exactly it was. I woke up, came out of septic shock, and I realized I was tied down in my bed and had all these tubes going in me, hearing all the beeping noises and all. And first person I seen was my wife, and I said, "What happened? Where am I?" And she said, "You don't know what happened, do you?" I said, "No, I don't." I was semi in and out of it, and she said, "You're in Crows, you're in critical care." So she told me that I went into septic shock. It shut my brain down, shutting down all my organs, and and I still had a rough fight. So not even I don't know who went and told the doctors that I was like able to speak and coming out of my whatever you want to call it, septic shock coma, and I remember my foot doctor, Dr. Patel, the most wonderful woman I ever known. And she came in and held my hand and said, and she came in with another doctor. He was a surgeon, and I'm sorry I don't remember his name. But Dr. Patel held my hand and said, "Joe, I was thinking about you all weekend." So I'm saying, "Well, weekend? Like, okay, I must have been really out of it, because I don't remember the weekend or nothing." So, well, let me back up. So I asked my wife, why was I tied down in the bed? And she said, because she was hallucinating real bad from the septic shock. And I had grabbed the nurse one night, and I thought he was a spy or something. And I grabbed, it was a male nurse, and I grabbed him, and I somehow got my hands on a bottle or something, I don't know, and I broke it and had a sharp object, and I was trying to cut his throat. So when I found that out, though, after the shock I had with the doctors, I apologized to that nurse like a million times. I felt so bad that I almost came to that. So Dr. Patel was holding my hand, and she says, "Joe, I had just met her just then, while I was in the hospital." And she said, I had tears in my eyes thinking of you over the weekend. She said, "I couldn't believe the support of your family. Everybody was around you the whole time when you came in here and all, your family and friends." And so she said, "I want to talk to you as my father." And she says, "I hope you understand what I'm about to say to you, that you need your leg amputated, because your chances of living the way you are slim and none." So she told me what would happen. She then asked the surgeon to talk to me, and he said that they would have to take my foot first and maybe more. I had two amputations in 1 week. So and So I looked at my wife and I said to her, I'm so sorry for what I'm causing here. Um, so I told them, I said, well, what are we waiting for? Let's do it. So that happened. Like I said, I had 2 amputations within 7 days. The foot, then more of the leg. Um, so that was that. And my first 2 weeks in a hospital, I just, it's a shock to you. How you going to survive? How you can provide? I was a provider for my family since I was a kid. My father taught us to always work, provide for your family, and that was me. I mean, I started out working so young. I mean, I remember shoe shining for a living. I had to drop out of high school to help provide for my family because my father was a single parent. Um, so I knew the importance of providing for your family. And so, with that being said, that was going through my head. I could never drive again. My independence. I love to drive. I started driving when I was 15 years old. It just, your freedom, your life is so turned upside down. It's pathetic. And while I'm there, I got Toyota finances calling me to repo my car. Like, you know, I don't care. Come and get the effing car. I can't drive. It doesn't matter to me. Just take it. And so that being said, I went through a lot for like the first 2 weeks, but then all the support I had um, uh, from my family, my friends, um, just everybody, the medical staff around me. It was a blessing, and I started to realize just how lucky I was. 2 times in 1 year, in a matter of 4 months. No, sorry, in 3 months. No, 4 months. I'm sorry, 4 months. In the first 4 months of January 2018, my life was almost gone twice. And I realized just how blessed I was. So, that being said, after all that happening, I felt so blessed. And I was totally okay with losing my leg. And because it made me a better man than I was. It challenged me more than I ever challenged myself in my life. And I just knew that I was going to make it. I just knew it. And so, that being said, like I said, I had my family and friends here. I mean, I just can't thank them enough. I had a beef and beer thrown for me when I came home out of the hospital after 90 plus days in there. And I had people visit me in the hospital. David Jackson and his family drove all the way from Baltimore one weekend and surprised me with a visit. It was, and I couldn't wait to see David's wife because I was thinking about her. She was a double amputee, and if anybody can inspire me, it would be her. And beautiful woman. And then you had Ladio. Guy drove from Florida to come see me, surprised me with a visit. And then in my beef and beer, my friends I haven't seen in years came out of the woodwork to support me. You had Rita and Ty drove from Maryland to come and support me. I just I was so lucky, and like I said, it made me a better man, better person. People say, "How can you losing your leg make you better?" I don't know how to explain it, but it did. So that all being said, um, oh, one thing, other thing. So that was 2018. 2019, I went back to work beginning of January. I was given an opportunity. It's not a big glamorous job, but it's a job I enjoy because I get to meet people every day, and I'm an outgoing person. I like meeting people, and I'm working at a motel at the front desk. It don't pay much, but I'm working. Um, I'm walking. Um, I'm driving again. Thank God, my wife and I share a car with hand controls. I have to thank the state of Pennsylvania for paying for that so I can get back to work. They had a program, but you know, we had to relocate because where I was living at, I couldn't properly take a shower or anything. But now I live in a small, very small apartment, but I'm able to take a shower in and out of my wheelchair. Because you can't wear your leg in the shower. And I spend a good part of my life in and out of my wheelchair. I'm sitting in my wheelchair now. So, all right, that's all about me. I really don't want to bore you too much about me, but I really want to talk about what I'm fighting for. Just give me a minute here. I want to take my leg off because when I make my phone call, people that know me and follow me know that I'm fighting. Here goes my leg. My leg is patriotic, not because I was in the service. That's because I'm very patriotic, and I believe in our flag and our Constitution. But I was not a vet, and I can't. I had so many people say me thank you for your service, and at times I don't know what to say. But I just thanked them. But I told 99% of people I'm not a vet. That was due to illness. So that being said, but I take my leg off, and when I'm making my phone calls to politicians, to different organizations for help, back and forth with the ADA and so on and so on. I take my leg off because it fuels my passion, my fire, my ass. It just pisses me off more. So let me get back to what I'm. So when I was in my first rehabilitation center back in Pennsylvania, we had a fire drill. We had a fire drill, and so the nurse came in, not the nurse, I'm sorry, the aide came in that day and telling us what would happen if there was a situation, how they would come around to help get us out of the bed and get us to safety through the emergency exit doors, which literally was right outside my room. And so sitting there thinking and all. So I go to dinner that night. I choose to eat in the dining room. I didn't want to. I got out of my room as much as I could. I didn't like staying in there, and I was in a wheelchair. I had no leg at this time, and while I was in there, I was in that first rehabilitation center. I don't know, 5 weeks or so, give or take, about that. And I met a lot of good people in there, and I start going around the rooms, talking, cheering up people and everything. So I became good friends with Bill. Bill was a stroke victim on his right side, and he was in a wheelchair, and his left foot was, he had issues with the left foot due to an accident. So he was pretty much in a wheelchair. So we were in the dining room, we became good friends, and Bill was one of the nicest guys I ever met, and he gave me the biggest compliment I ever received in my life from Bill. Bill was a Muslim gentleman who believed strongly in his beliefs, and we came very close. And I still talk to him here and there. And he said, "Joe, honestly, we were having dinner one night, and I was helping cut his meat. His meat. It was Father's Day. I'll never forget. It was Father's Day, and we picked our meals for the night, and we didn't know that they were going to have sirloin steak that night because it was Father's Day. So we both ordered ham. I ordered a hamburger, and he ordered some vegetarian something thing, and we found out it was steak. So we told him to take our food back, and we wanted steak and potato. We didn't know it was available to us that night. So I was cutting his steak and all for him because he couldn't cut his meat. And he said to me, "Joe," he says, "I have no non-Muslim friends at all." He said, "I'll be honest with you, I have none. I can honestly say you're my first non-Muslim friend." He said, "You're a hell of a guy." He says, "And I'm going to look at people differently than out of the Muslim community." And I thought that was a compliment and a half to me. And so that happened. So we're talking over dinner about the fire drill. And so I said to him, "They're going to come around and get us out." He said, "In our wing alone of the rehabilitation center, there's got to be 30 people, patients, 3 nurses at nighttime, 2 nurses and 3 aides, 5 people in that side with 30 people." I'm saying to myself, how the hell are they getting us all out of here? So I said to Bill, we fill up our urinal at night, and we push the button. We can't get them to come and empty out the freaking urinal for God knows how long, even if they do show up. So and we start laughing over that and chuckling. So I told him, so we go back to our room. So a couple hours later, we meet up in the hallway in our wheelchairs. It was funny as hell because he had the one hand like the wheelchair himself, and the other hand somewhat, and I'd be pushing him from my wheelchair. So we would go down around 8, 9 o'clock at night back to the dining room where the refrigerator had ice cream in it, and we both loved ice cream. So we go get some ice cream at night. Every night we did that, and so we're rolling back. I said, "You know what, Bill, I'm going to try to get out of here tonight using the doors." He said, "You know, you're going to get in trouble." I said, "No, so be it." So I go in my room. It's about a little after 9 or so, I guess. I don't know. I never watched the clock because watching the clock made the time go by so slower. And so I go out there, roll myself out. I try to open up the door. I couldn't do it because the emergency door exits, most 90% or more, have the bar you push down on. Okay. Now, when you're in a wheelchair, you need both hands to propel yourself forward and backwards or to turn. So you need both of your hands to move the wheelchair. And you can try it with your foot too. Okay? But, so, I couldn't do it. And I'm a determined son of a bitch. Okay? I could not do it. I gave up on it. So, to be honest, I was pretty pissed off about it. So I rolled myself back into my room. I grabbed my walker, and now I'm in this rehabilitation center to build myself back up and all, without no leg, because the septic shock took its toll on me. on my body, my organs, everything. I mean, it really messed me up pretty bad. And so they were teaching me to hop in case I couldn't adapt to getting a prosthetic leg on my next part of my journey at another facility. So I was hopping, I was getting used to it. So I went in my room, I got my walker, because they had a walker in there, because they wanted me to try hopping more than I was in the chair in my room to get used to it. And so I hopped my ass on out to the hallway there, to the door. Now I'm on a walker, trying to hold the walker with no leg. I tried to open up the door, almost fell twice, almost broke my neck. And I gave up, and now I was really pissed off. I go back to my room, I was thinking about this all night long. So, and just over the days I was thinking about it. So, and I knew about the automatic door openers because they had them at the front entrance of in and out of this hospital that I was in this rehabilitation center. So, and I was doing great in there because I had therapy twice a day, but I would go 3-4 times. I'd go like 2 times my own, just do shit in there to build myself back up, to move on with my life. Because I wanted to live so much and continue on my life and not lay down and die. And so that did that journey. So I get to my last phase of my journey, where I was going to go get trained for my leg, to walk on a prosthetic leg. I was happy as anything there, happy. I could not wait to get there because I knew what was there for me, waiting for me, a leg that was pre-fitted, but I never actually really did walking on other than a few steps with the bars. So I got there, and the only time I was allowed to where my leg was when I was in therapy, I was told. So I was there. I got checked in late one night, and then the next day I started right on my leg. I was happy as anything, and they told me I was going to have therapy 3 times a day. I'm saying, yeah, could I get 4 or 5 times a day? I just want to get the leg on and walk. So I did extremely good with that. I was doing great. So the second day comes. I had my morning therapy, and then I went back to my. I went out to the garden outside. Like I never liked staying in my room, so I was rolling around. After I had my breakfast, I had therapy. Then I went outside the front entrance, talking to some guys I met in there, other guys, and so I realized, not realized, but I had to use the restroom. So I knew there was a restroom right inside when you went in the lobby, but I never noticed something. So I wheeled myself up, and I had to hurry up because I had to get to therapy, my second session of therapy for the day. So I pull up the restroom, and here is this blue plate to get into the bathroom. So I push the button, and opens up the door like Moses parting the waters. And I get in the bathroom, and I see another one. And like I'm sitting in my wheelchair grinning and like this I'm shaking my head and like this can't be. So I started grinning to myself and like this is impossible. I could not wait. I could not go to the bathroom fast enough to get out of there because I had one thing on my mind. Okay, to get to the exit door, one of the emergency exit doors in this building. And I knew I seen a sign over near my room that I was signed to in there. So I had like 15 minutes to get to therapy. So I rolled my wheelchair back to my room, to that wing real fast because that's the only emergency exit like I focused on, I seen. So I wheeled myself to there, and I'm looking at the emergency door exit. There's the bar to push down, but there's no blue plate on the wall to push to open up the door. I said, you gotta be freaking kidding me. So I left. I rushed to therapy, and I didn't say nothing. I did my therapy. I put my leg on, and I'm doing some walking, and so. But then I started thinking about it more and more over the days. I mean, it was like pounding me. This can't be true. So then I did some research, and I find out under the ADA guidelines, emergency doors are not required to have the plate button, the push, to open up the door automatically. So I got this drive in me. Once I got released and everything, after a couple months, I got back to something, being home and normal, and I had time on my hands. I got the computer out and start researching more and more. So I started making some phone calls, state representatives back home and all, and everybody's telling me, why didn't anybody ever think of this before? So I started reaching out. But I'm coming to find out, though, even though I've reached out to Senator Elizabeth Warren, who was at a town hall meeting, and I got to talk to her for a few minutes and outline what I was doing. I gave her a piece of paper outlining why I'm trying to do here, accomplish here, and she said she would get back to me, and she did. She did get back to me, and she put me in contact with Senator Mark Warren. And I contacted his office and been talking to his staff and everything. And he sent me a letter. And I filed a complaint with the Department of Justice, which they are pissing me off because I file a phone call and they're telling me, well, it'll be a year to year and a half before they even look at the complaint. So that didn't sit too well with me. And I told the lady on the other end of the phone, I guess you're not a person with disabilities, are you? And she said, no. I said, well, okay, that's why you're not really, it's not an urgency to you as it is to me and my peers, to my brothers and sisters. So I've been on the phone, making phone calls, calling people, trying to get things done. I'm running into a lot of red tape. I got people telling me, well, you got to call this one, call that one, do this, do that. And I'm not giving up. Believe me, I will not. I vow to see this through. And believe me, before I die, this will be done. This will be my mark on life. I may have lost my leg, but I will not lose this battle. I will get this done for us. So help me, God, I will. I don't care if I'm a pain in the ass, whose balls I'm breaking that day. I constantly call people. And like I said, I take my leg off, I'm at my best with my phone calls. And I tell them, I'm sitting in my wheelchair. I want to be able to exit a building safely. Emergency door exit is for a reason. Emergency exit. That means there's a situation going on in the building. It can be a fire. It could be an active shooter. It could be a gas leak. It could be anything going on. It's an emergency exit door. Okay? My thing is, a person with non-disabilities can open this door and exit a building safely without no issues. God bless you. Okay? I'm glad you get out of it. But myself and my peers, as we sit in a wheelchair or on a walker or some other device that we cannot open up the door, it is pathetic. I find it, I can't accept it, and I won't accept it. Okay? And now I'm finding out all emergency door exits are not under the ADA standard width of a door. So a person in a large wheelchair, even if they could get the freaking door open, can't get the wheelchair through the door. because they range from 30 inches to 36 inches. Under the ADA regulations, it's 32 inches. So how do you fit a 32-inch wheelchair into a 30-inch wide entrance? You can't do it. So what's that person supposed to do? Okay? I want to be able to get through the emergency door exit if I'm in my wheelchair with no problem. I want the same rights as everybody else. Okay? I want to be able to get out of a situation. My life is priceless to my family and to me and my friends. I want my peers to be able to get out of a building safely. Okay? Because if I roll up to an emergency door exit, or one of my peers does, roll up to it, or walk, or whatever device they have, and they're not capable of opening up that door, this button should be on the goddamn wall where I can just push and the door opens up for me and I get out safely, out of harm's way. It's called the emergency door. I'm not asking for them to be on bathroom doors or a front entrance. There's always good Samaritans around to help you with that, always. Okay, but they're not always around an emergency door exit. Okay, and I'm tired of hearing, well, someone will help you out. Okay, what happens if there's no one there? No one's there to help me to get out that door, or one of my peers, my brothers or my sisters. I will not accept this. Okay, I want the blue button. I want the law passed on the ADA that they are placed at emergency door exits, and that are properly, and the doors are under the ADA guidelines for width and everything else, so we can get out of it. I have two choices of getting out of a situation. Okay, out of a building, if there's something going on. The fires come, every second counts of me getting out of that building, just like you and everybody else. Okay? An active shooter is not going to say, oh, he's in a wheelchair, I'll feel sorry for him. Or the fire raging down the hallway, or the smoke building up. Oh, he's in a wheelchair. Let me ease off on him. It don't happen that way. So I am demanding, and I want this to come to every emergency exit. I want to see this on the wall and it be working, so someone in a larger wheelchair can get through the doorway at safety. We have two ways of leaving a building, either pushing this blue button or in a body bag, winding up in a morgue. I don't want to go to a morgue. I want to go home to my family. So please support me with this. I beg of you, please support me. I want this at all emergency door exits. I'm not asking, I'm begging you. Please help me. If you would like to support me, please, you can reach out to me by email at josephboris@yahoo.com. That's Joseph, Joseph, Boris, Boris, @yahoo.com. Please, if you're able to help me accomplish what I'm trying to do here for us, just email me, reach out to me. I would hope someone can just give me some guidance. I will do the work. I don't care knocking on doors. I don't care about picking up the phone. I am not shy, believe me. I will get in their face. I already talked to senators already, and I talked to them like I just met them on the corner. I am not shy to talk to people. So please reach out and help me if you can. I'm not asking for money. I'm just asking for your help. Legally, I'm looking for a lawyer really to help me file a lawsuit against the U.S. government for not getting this pushed through. Whatever I got to do, I will do. And once again, you can reach me by emailing me at josephboris.com. That's JOSEPHBORIS @yahoo.com. I thank you for your time and your support. Thank you.